Well, here we are now, May of 2021, and many things have not changed. People still coming down to Florida, still trying to get their piece of this wonderful paradise, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Florida in 2021. Hey everybody, my name's Craig Cunha. I'm a real estate agent here in Southwest Florida on the Gulf Coast. If you're looking for a channel that tells you a little bit about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate in this area, then this is the channel for you. Go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment down below of something you may want to know. I'm getting calls from people every day and I love it. If you've got a question about what it's like to live here and what you need to know, you've got to call, text, or email because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Florida here in May of 2021. But before we do that, I want to give you a little hack that I found out this week. This might be common knowledge to some of you, others not so much. I have a young man in my family. He's 11 years old. I want to set this boy up for the future. So we're doing college prepay and doing all the little things to get him in the right direction. Well, the other day I found out about something that's so unique. If you're not doing it for your kids, you might want to consider it. If you are a responsible adult that pays your bills on time and keeps your credit scores high, you can actually add your kids as an authorized user to your account so that by the time they are ready to start using credit, they're going to have the same scores that you're going to have. You are building their credit for them by having them as an authorized user on your account. And before you freak out about, oh my gosh, they have access to my credit cards, you can set cap limits on there for them. So if you only want to give them a $200 cap, if they ever get the card at all. But if you give them a card, you can set caps on the cash amount they can get as well as the credit. Teach them responsibility and how to use it. But once again, it builds their credit score. So when it comes time to need it for an apartment, for utilities, for a car, whatever it may be, they're going to be set up. Now we're going to jump into the actual pros and cons of being in Florida, living in Florida, moving to Florida in May of 2021. First pro is that the market is still sizzling hot, very active. Properties are moving when they're available. The rates are still down, the prices are still up, and we don't know when that's going to change. So if you are looking for getting into this market, I can't tell you whether there's going to be a better time or a worse time. Nobody knows that. And if they pretend to know it, they're not telling you the truth. We don't know anything. And the con in this same category is the market's still very hot. The values are still rising. And the inventory is very low. So yes, pros and cons, same thing. There's a good to it and a bad to it. But if you're one of those people out shopping around right now, don't give up. There's still plenty of ways to go about securing a property. And I'll share with you one that we did just yesterday. I had a client contact me about a property. They loved the property. We weren't able to actually see the property for another 3 days. And I let them know that, look, you don't have to wait to see it. If you know this is what you want, go ahead and go after it. But you've got to go after it strong because they're waiting to release this when they do an open house on the weekend. Well, what we did is we went over ask price. We gave it a very short closing time frame, a very short inspection time frame, and a super generous escrow deposit. So if you want to know how to win on these bids when you're putting them in for resold homes, that's how you do it. You have to make it so attractive that that seller has no reason to stay in the market waiting for other offers. Now the next pro kind of falls in line with the real estate market. There's still homes to buy here. And you can still in many cases lock in a price with a builder. Not all builders allow for that. Number one, many of them are capped now. I'm calling around to builders trying to help people find homes. They're not even selling them. They're not releasing them. If they get a release, they probably have a list, as long as your arm of people waiting for them. But the nice thing is many of these builders will lock the price. So if you're one of those fortunate people to get in there and secure one of these homes, rest assured, if they told you the price is locked, it's locked. Make sure it's in writing. There are some builders out there that'll do cost plus. That basically means any increase to the bottom line of building that home gets passed on to you. Make sure you're not one of the people stuck under that. Now the con to this is that there's still limited availability. And one of the things we're seeing an awful lot of is people coming and purchasing sight unseen, not even knowing the area, never being to Cape Coral, Fort Myers, or anything, never driving the neighborhoods, not sure what they're getting into, but they hear all the hype. You've got to buy something in Florida. I want to buy it now. And then they come down, they drive the neighborhood. The home might have been perfect for them. Might have loved the way it looked. Looked beautiful. The pretty pictures they saw online. Great. Did you drive the neighborhood? Probably not. So what they find out is they didn't like the neighbors. They didn't like the commercial area before you come into the neighborhood. Whatever it was, they didn't like it. So what they did is they backed out of it, and now we have the home hit the market again. In addition to the construction numbers being capped and the offerings that are not available as much as we'd like to see, it's also going to take a year to a year and a half to now build these homes. And that's not even considering any more shortages, like our latest shortage, gas. Who would have ever thought gas? Seriously? So, shortages are going to continue. They've been going for over a year now, and they're just continuing on and on and on. So even if you think you have a time frame down, you may not actually finish in that time frame. So be sure that when you're securing that property, that a year to year and a half is at least a viable option for you. If it's not, you may want to plan differently. Okay, now the real estate bubble. Everybody's asking, is this a bubble? Is it going to break? What the heck's going on? Well, once again, nobody has a crystal ball. But all the reports that I'm seeing and the reasons behind it make total sense why there isn't going to be a bubble. In fact, right now, I think that where we're priced is kind of going to be our floor. So everywhere we go from here is going to be just that increase that we all see happening. But if it was to adjust, the bottom's not going to drop out. The sky is not falling. It's not that bad. And the reasons behind that, there's high demand. There's low inventory. There's very strict lending guidelines. There are large amounts of cash coming in, whether it's as escrow deposits or if it's the cash purchase. There's so many things strengthening the positions that it's not like the last downfall that we had in real estate. Those lending guidelines were so loose, anybody that was involved in it will tell you that. It is a totally different world right now. There's more equity in these homes than ever before. So do not get caught up or concerned about thinking there's going to be this bubble breaking. When there's this much demand and so little inventory, it's just going to keep churning. Now the con to all those things that are allowing for the strengthening and not allowing for a bubble is the delays and uncertainty. It's going to be frustrating. I know that everybody wants to jump in and get what they want when they want, but we're going to have to be patient here because there's no telling what's going to happen going forward. These, as we've discussed, these shortages are definitely throwing a wrench into the process. But if you're going to delve into this, just please know that you have to be patient and you have to keep an open mind as to what could be. Now, a pro in this Fort Myers, Cape Coral area is we are getting a lot of improvements and we're getting a lot more coming. If you haven't been to the downtown area of Fort Myers, you've got to check it out, man. They're really doing a great job revitalizing this whole area. They're now putting up luxury condos and apartments right off the river. You talk about close proximity to getting down to the shops and the restaurants and the clubs. This is going to be an ideal place. They've already revitalized the downtown area where all those restaurants are. They've added the new Luminary Hotel. Oxbow's the newest waterfront restaurant in the area. There's just so much going on down there that if you are one of those people that needs to stay in the mix of things, downtown Fort Myers might be the place for you. What they've also done down here is they've added these zip zones. Now, a zip zone is a parking space for a 2-hour total time limit. There's zones all over the downtown area. This is to encourage short-term parking and allow for people that are there for lunch, there for a short stop, just visiting a friend, whatever they're doing. It allows for the short visits instead of having those people working downtown taking up these spots all day long. There was just nowhere to park. There's limited meters down there. But I think what this is doing is this is forcing those longer term parkers into the parking garage. Yes, there is a, I believe, 5-story parking garage that's there in the downtown area. So that's where you're going to park if it's long term. It's very inexpensive, so Don't worry about spending the money there. But these zip zones will allow you to do a total of 2 hours when you park. So don't think it's 2 hours in this spot, I can move and then hit another one. They will catalog your license plate, and you will get fined if you go over 2 hours in total down this area. Now you ask how I know that? Well, I did that on the beach, thinking if I just move spots, it's okay. They had the same parking system down there before they brought it into downtown Fort Myers. So yeah, I might have gotten fined. But that's all you want to do is make sure you're only going to do it for 2 hours, then either find a pay parking meter or get over to the parking garage. Now with all these changes that are happening, they're also doing a new Centennial Park downtown. It's going to have an amphitheater on the river. It's going to be absolutely amazing. The con to all this, we have to wait for it to happen. I mean, there isn't really another con that is going to take place. It's offering great housing in a great location. It's offering this new park. It's giving you a lifestyle in this part of town that wasn't there before. So let's just be patient and wait for it to happen. Now back onto housing. Another pro is that there are plenty of resale homes out there for you to purchase if you know what you're looking for. First consideration should be location, then the age of the home, any kind of updates that have been done, and does it have hurricane protection? And we're going to talk about why all of these pieces and parts are important. So the con is, if things aren't updated properly, then you may spend more on insurance. So age of the home, it's going to have certain code changes that weren't with the home, i.e. an extra nail in your hurricane strap on each of your trusses. That's a discount for your insurance. If you don't have hurricane protection on all the openings of the home, then that's another thing you're going to lose credits for. Another thing that affects your insurance is the hip versus gable ratio on the home. So a home with a majority of hip style roof, that's the straight flat part, that's going to give you more credits. The gables, if you have any more than 10% of the roof line that's a gable, you're getting dinged on your insurance. So keep a lookout on that and make sure you get quoted for the home. Give the address to the insurance company. They should be able to give you a pretty good estimate of what that insurance coverage would be for that home. In this time, a lot of people are saying, you know what, forget this. I'm not getting involved in all these wars. So they just jump in to buy a piece of land. So the pro of going out and buying a piece of land is you're securing your piece of Florida now. You're locking that price in. You have a place to build when it's time. The con is that not all builders are going to use your land when they go to build. They might already have their own land. So at this point in time, when they already have their own supply, they're going to put permits in on their land. Many builders will not pool your land in. I found that many of the ones that would be more of a semi-custom to custom builder, but these volume guys, the larger builders that are doing in mass quantity or more quantity than the others, they are going to use their own land. They may possibly purchase yours, but it's a long drawn out process. It's about 3 months just to get it turned over to them. So keep that in mind when you're searching for a builder. Ask those questions if they'll use your lot or not. Find out how long it's going to take, because they'll have to do their feasibility studies as to how suitable that lot is when it comes time to build. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me about the taxes on a property. Well, why are they so different from here to there? Well, with taxes, there's a number of factors that get figured into how they come up with that number. Number one, they're not reassessed every year. So you may have a year, 2 or 3 in between. There is some regularity, but no guarantee of that. So if you're looking at a home that has really low taxes, a couple things to look at. Is it homesteaded? How long has that owner lived there? If that owner's been there a long time and had a homestead exemption on it, they've locked in their taxes and capped them at no more than the 3% increase per year. So that's going to keep those rates super low for them. You know, it's also probably going to keep the value of the home down, since it hasn't been turned over numerous times like some of these other properties. Every time a property's turned over, they're going to assess it again and hit the home with a new value that's going to change your taxes. Also, are you in an area that does city and county taxes? One of the advantages of some of the areas like Fort Myers is the vast majority of the area is county-only taxes. You have to be all the way up into the downtown area to get hit with city taxes as well. In Cape Coral, as you may know, there's that lovely assessment that can be tacked on for water and sewer. that's why your taxes could be higher. The other thing that we're going to see with the tax changes are as services and expenses of those services change, we're most likely going to see it passed on to us through taxes. One of the things you've probably heard a lot about is Waste Pro, so your trash pickup. There's been issues with them in the Cape Coral area, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to think that they would end up increasing the tax for that and adding more service to make sure they can handle the workload. And this last pro has to do with outdoor activities. There's just a ton of stuff to do here, and it doesn't matter really time of year, because if it's warm and blazing, you know, we went for a bike ride. We literally went downtown and almost back down to the beach yesterday, and in that time we went about 23 miles. So yeah, it was a great workout. A little warm, nothing terrible, but I'm gonna tell you this: if you're somebody active and you're gonna be out bicycling, there are paths out there. There are some sidewalks you may have to hit, but keep your head on a swivel. The people out there that are driving, I watch them as they're coming out of the exits of these parking lots and driveways. Half the time they're not even looking. Their sole intent is to get out on the road as fast as they can, whether they're looking and seeing you or not. So you be the one that acts defensively and protect yourself, because they may not pay attention and they may not even care. Well, that's a little bit more about pros and cons of living in Florida in May of 2021. If you have any questions outside of what I discussed here, please go ahead and comment down below. Pick up the phone, email me, text me. Just send your question to me. Let me know how I can help you, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.